Into the room.
Sure.
So we are broadcasting now. Looking forward to our next presentation with Tim Calhoun of Quinn Design, technology company that's doing some really amazing things. Welcome, Len and Marjorie. Hi. Haven't seen you all weekend. That's awesome to see you here. Hey, Wendy, welcome back. You should definitely meet Tim. Got some crazy, Wendy Crockett is the 2019 Iron Butt Rally winner. And
nice.
Crazy cool technology that you should look into, Wendy. Hi, Warren, Sarah, Cam, Dan, welcome back. Hey, Frank Esposito, hello.
Hello, Frank.
Yeah, hello, Frank. Ali, welcome. Pat and Sylvia, Rose. Looks like our room has filled up. So welcome everyone. I would like to introduce Tim Calhoun of Quinn Design. They are a technology company, and wait till you hear what they're doing. It's just gonna blow your mind. Take it away, Tim.
All right, I'm gonna lead off real quickly, everybody, with a short video to kind of give you a lead into what we are, and then we'll break right into the webinar. So here we go. We will set up this video hopefully and make it work for you. Being the technically challenged guy I am. Why is this not working? Sure.
Hey, we're Quintessential Design. You can call us Quinn. Our mission is essential safety.
I'll try this one more time, guys, and I apologize. For some reason, screen share is not picking it up right now, so let me do it one more time for you. I have no idea. There we go.
Tim, I can see your screen. We can see your screen.
Perfect. Here we go.
Hey, we're Quintessential Design. You can call us Quinn. Our mission is essential safety. Quinn gives you no-nonsense safety that lets you focus on your ride while knowing that your helmet is smart about your safety. Quinn helmets bring you invisibly integrated Bluetooth 4.0, which means that you have access to phone calls,
call Bruce Kimball,
music, turn-by-turn maps navigation, and any other app you're used to using on the go. It also provides you with a first-of-its-kind crash detection system that accurately and reliably detects when you've had a crash and lets your emergency contacts know when you need help the most. If you need help on the go, then you can manually trigger an SOS beacon. So Quinn has your back at the long press of a button. And all of these features are brought together by the Quinn app. Quinn brings you essential safety through modernity, design, technology, connectivity, and so much more. The best part about getting all of this technology is that it comes seamlessly integrated into 3 beautifully designed helmet models. We have the Quinn McHugh, the Spitfire, and the Ghost, which also happens to be the world's lightest weight smart helmet. And remember to ride safe. Quinn, essential safety.
So there is a quick lead in to our video. I am not seeing myself. There we go, guys. So there's a quick lead into the Quinn video. Basically, we're a first-of-kind crash detection system in the market with an approach. It's an all fully integrated approach. So what I like about this company, I've been in this business a long time. Many of you know me, about 35 years. I've ridden since I was a child. And at this point in my career, I really was looking for something that was a new challenge, a new direction, something I really thought could change some of the paradigms that exist currently in our industry as to what our expectation of what a helmet should do are. I'd look towards the Bluetooth sector, I'd look towards the technical sector, and I'd began conversations with Quinn about 1.5 years ago. And it was really interesting to see exactly how far they came in such a short time. And we had a conversation last October, and I was transitioning from a company I worked at, Helmet House, and we came to a nice agreement. I really liked the owners of the company. Hannah was one of the ones you saw in the video, so it's really pleasurable to work with a woman who is actually an executive in our industry. And they needed my expertise, which was the sales side of it, and so we made a decision to work together. And I picked up my my world and moved it to Dallas, Texas. So here we are, just launching our business model, which is a direct-to-dealer model, and really beginning to plant our motorcycle helmet in the helmet sector. The one thing that should be known about Quinn is we're much, much more than just a motorcycle company. At the end of the day, we're very much a tech company first. Unlike some other approaches that have existed in the market, there's been others who have tried to put tech into helmets. And unfortunately, in some cases, they've built some really fantastic tech, but when it comes down to the chassis of the helmet itself, it's not been as spectacular. One thing I really enjoy about this company is our owner, Ani, is a design engineer by trade, had owned his own bicycle helmet company, had been a designer for Ferrari for some time, has worked with Google and a lot of other companies, has medical devices, has military devices. For as young as he is, early 30s, he's a very established young man and very accomplished with multiple international design awards. And he has a passion for just beautiful, simple things. And so he spent a lot of time working on the chassis of our helmet to ensure when you get a Quinn product, not only do you get an exceptional tech product, but you also get a very beautiful helmet that it's housed in. I'm going to quickly share with you guys one more item I have, which is a quick deck that I want to open up for everybody. Let me close that real quick. Shrink my screen, my apologies, get rid of this. And we will open up our deck. And I will share my screen one more time with everybody here. There we go. There we go. Let me put my deck in the center for you guys so you can check it out. So Quinn Design Helmets started in about 2017. That was the onset of the first helmets that we built as a company. We partnered with one of the largest helmet manufacturers in the world. Unlike a lot of companies, we're not afraid to tell everybody who we work with, and currently our manufacturer is Strategic. They build for the majority of brands that exist in our industry, other than singularly owned brands like Shoei or Arai, and have been an exceptional partner for this company, working hand in hand to develop a new type of product for the world. They're also our build partner for Abbas bicycle helmets, which is a partner right now building all of our bicycle units. So we've already entered the bicycle industry as well in a big way. Abbas is about the third largest, I believe, bicycle helmet company in the world, the largest European distributor of bicycle helmets currently, and they have just entered the market with our smart bicycle helmets. We have additional partners I'll share with you as we go forward. First and foremost, we want to design a helmet that would actually keep people safer while they're riding. The backstory on the development of this entire helmet was that a good friend of Ani's was riding in India. It crashed a Harley Davidson off the side of a road, quite a drop, and they could not find him. And so they were up and down the highway they knew he was on, and finally as it became dusk, they could see the blinker of a motorcycle below. Went down to find the gentleman. He was pinned under his bike, had a phone, couldn't call anybody. Unfortunately, he had had a small nick in the back of his arm and had bled out for 8 hours and was left paralyzed on his left side of his body. So Ani knew from his days of building bicycle helmets, he had built a chipset that essentially worked like a test laboratory. And he took that same theory of building a test laboratory, and that's what became the Quinn Arc chip that currently goes into the helmets. So problem equals potential. We're a company that very much loves to look at problems, address them directly, and try and find solid solutions. Right now in America, if you crash in a rural environment on a motorcycle, the average response time from the time you have an accident to the time you actually end up in a hospital is about 2.5 hours. It's a substantially long time period. Same is true for an urban environment. If you're in a town environment, the average time that you are from a time of an accident to the hospital is about 1.5 hours. We work with the National Emergency Center that looks at all these statistics And we works with all the emergency rooms across the country, and we're point blank told in meeting with them that if we could half the time response time from the time they crash to the hospital, we could save up to 50% more people than they're currently saving. That was really the key driver in how we're developing our product and what we're trying to do is we're trying to shorten that window from the time you have an accident to the time we actually get you help and get to the hospital. And I'll talk more about that as we go forward. Basically, we're addressing a lot of things, and we'll talk more to the future in a minute. We have an emergency response in the background that will come into play at some point. We'll talk more about that. Commuters are probably the most vulnerable riders of all, especially in an urban environment. Right now, people ride by themselves from an estimate we've done or we've studied we've done is about 83% of the time. So you're out there alone by yourself quite a bit. What we're trying to do is answer a lot of those what if questions that exist. What if I'm riding alone? What if nobody knows where I am? What if I crash and get knocked out? And those are the real basic questions we're trying to answer with our technology. And the end goal of everything we're moving towards over the course of the next couple of years here with our development is trying to get somebody from the scene of an accident to the final hospital within that golden hour. That's when everything changes and fatalities drop dramatically. That's what we're driving for. The last thing is smart driving. So if you have high-risk behaviors like using a phone, drinking, being sleep deprived, being dehydrated, all those things while you're behind the handlebars of a motorcycle, those all can lead to some potentially dangerous situations. So a lot of what we've developed with our headsets and our helmet is addressing those. So first and foremost, crash detection, SOS, Bluetooth, and maps. So with our helmet, it is a fully integrated Bluetooth system within the helmet. And then there is a second Bluetooth system that strictly connects the Quinn ARC chip, which is our crash detection chip, to your phone. By the phone and that chip working together, we can eliminate false signals, and we can tell when you're moving, how fast you're moving, etc. The other Bluetooth connects simply to listen to your music, talk on your telephone, hear directions from your GPS. So we're a little bit different in that we're not just a Bluetooth. There's actually two units at work there. One very much doing the crash detection, one very much handling all those other things that you want to do within a Bluetooth environment. Our app is the heart and soul of everything we do, and we're about to launch a much more extended app in the next 6 weeks or so. But basically, with the IntelliQuinn system, what happens in the case of an accident, we can read how fast you are going, we can read how hard you hit, we can read how many times you hit, we know what kind of movements your body went through. Our app, when it senses an accident, actually locks down 5 seconds before an accident and 5 seconds after an accident, much like a black box. And we can extract that data and reenact that entire accident and see what your body movements were. So down the road, if you're having some issues and a doctor wants to really understand where your head hit or how, we can actually recreate that and extract that from our app once an accident's happened. Now, what happens in the case of an accident is if you crash and it alerts the system that there's been a crash, your phone will go into a countdown for 10 seconds. It gives you an opportunity to shut off the crash alert, maybe if you just fell over or you didn't get hurt. If you don't, it's going to not send out an emergency signal to your 3 emergency contacts that you designate within the app. Ideally, your emergency contacts will also download our free app on their phone. That way, if you put in their phone number, you put in their email, and they have the application, they're going to receive a text, they're going to receive a push notification to the app, and they're going to receive an email. When they get that, it's going to open a screen on their phone that looks very much like what you're looking at here. And in the center of that, you'll see there is a little circle there. That's your pinpoint where you had had your crash. If they touch the center of the screen, it immediately breaks into a secondary screen that basically opens up into a map program and will give them directions how to get to you most immediately. The same is very true with an SOS, which we'll go into more. But an SOS is a live signal. The crash is a static. It shows your location, and SOS will continue to track you. So in the case you're being harassed in traffic, you're being followed in traffic, you fall down and get hurt, but maybe not knocked out, and you're trying to limp it home, you can hit your contacts, and essentially you can let them follow you and meet you somewhere along the way, or follow you all the way into your house or your location you're headed towards. SOS, like I said, is very similar. It can be triggered either from your phone screen or from 3 taps on the front of the helmet, and I'll demo that for you guys in a few minutes. Same countdown, pings your contacts. It follows you the same way. And again, I'll demo that for you guys shortly. I'm just trying to walk through this. Our app is going to become very more robust shortly. What it allows you to do when you sign up is pick the helmet that you bought. It changes the coloration of your screen to match your helmet. It allows you to put motorcycles in a garage within your app. You're going to be able to put multiple motorcycles in there with the app update. It'll detect your crash and location. The other thing it gives you during a crash is it does give you the GPS, the actual GPS location, and that's important. We'll talk to that in a minute as well. What we're working towards shortly is we will begin to work with a company called Rapid SOS. What is happening across the United States is Bosch is tying every 911 center underneath one umbrella. The problem has been poor communication. People get dispatched to a 911 location, but it's actually out of the county, slightly over a county line. Then they have to call a secondary ambulance or secondary EMT. So there's been a lot of problems of people not being able to get service properly if on county lines or in strange areas. Bosch with their system will help eliminate a lot of those problems so the correct 911 operator gets connected. Secondarily, Rapid SOS has a very pinpoint technology. You could literally have an accident, call them on your phone, be riding on a roller coaster, and they can see the movement on a roller coaster. What we'll be tying into is a system that will allow people to sign up, and it will be an add-on. We're looking at $1.99 probably a month to do this, but it'll let you put in your blood type, any health conditions you have, any allergies you have, who you are, your health insurance, all those key details that they're often searching for at the scene of an accident. And with this service, when you crash, EMTs will be contacted immediately along with your contacts. That way they're immediately dispatched to your location in the case of a crash. Again, shortening that window greatly from the time you crash to the time somebody calls someone to the time they figure out who you are, et cetera, et cetera. Again, we're trying to narrow that window and get you the right help as soon as we possibly can. That is where we're headed with the app in a very short time frame. So with the helmet, all Quinn helmets utilize the same basic things as far as all the technology. The Quinn Arc chip is the same. The Bluetooth systems are the same. We also utilize inside of the helmet a thing called cone head technology, which is the actual foam EPS liner in the helmet. Why that's a little different is it actually has two pieces of foam that go together like fingers, and each one of these fingers is like a three-sided pyramid. The whole premise of this type of EPS is it's a harder outer, softer inner. When you have contact, what a helmet's really doing in the case of an accident is simply managing energy. The better you manage the energy, the less damage is transferred inside the helmet. So with cone head, it hits the outer EPS, that goes into the cones. Those diffract in three directions, hit more cones. Those again, all diffract in three directions. So you're redirecting all this energy away from the skull and across the breadth of the helmet. That's the idea of cone head. Some other things we do differently inside the interior of the helmet is most helmets obviously use a foam type cheek pad and headliner setup. We do the same. What we do differently though is with the last layer we add in is a memory foam. The memory foam, what it does is will form to the shape of your face faster, feels extremely soft on the skin, seals around the ear well so you can hear your Bluetooth well, and retains its shape considerably better than the standard foam. So its durability is much higher. The feeling of it's wonderful when you put your head in one of our helmets. And it's just a slightly different approach to make one thing just a level higher, a level better on our helmets. We also fully integrate the Bluetooth, and we put a final waterproof sheathing on all of Bluetooth. So it's a very, very durable system. Currently we're using Bluetooth 4.0. We'll be moving to 5.0 in the future. And to that point, one of the best things about Quinn helmets is as we upgrade firmware and software or even hardware, we give current users the opportunity to upgrade with us. If it's hardware, we'll keep the cost to a minimum in an installation. If it's software, it's a free download to you. You can upload it through the charging port on the helmet, and then you have the latest and greatest items that we have as a company. We designed this helmet from the beginning to be a constant living, breathing, improving product line. As we get better, we do things, your helmet will remain relevant. The Quinn Arc chip is the probably most important part. It's about the size of maybe a nickel, roughly, and kind of looks like a Lego, about half as thick. On that Arc chip are some very important pieces. So some people out there are trying to create crash detection by simply using your cell phone. And let me tell you what the problem with that is. If you're only using a cell phone, currently cell phones only run between 40 and 60 megahertz on their accelerometers. That's 40 to 60 times a second. Now, when we began with our program, we went through 3,500 simulated tests. And the problem at 40 to 60 megahertz is when you crash, you can actually completely miss a crash at 40 to 60 megahertz. It's so quick, it's so harsh, it happens so fast that it can be missed. With Quinn, we run dual accelerometers inside this chipset, and we run at 400 megahertz a second on each chip. That is, we are testing and cycling every 0.25 milliseconds. It is virtually impossible to miss a crash with our system. We also run a gyro in the system, so we know which way your body is moving, which way you're going. We run a north pointing electronic compass. We know which direction you're riding down the highway. And last but not least, we bounce these things back and forth between your phone. So in the case of an accident, we know, where you crash, how you crash, etc. But we also know whether you're moving or not after a crash. We know how fast you were going as well, so we can estimate the level of damage. So as we begin to collect more and more data points from accidents, we can also give EMT a very good idea of the severity of an accident once we've registered all those data points. So Quinn chip really is just like having a full helmet test center inside your helmet. There's so many sensors in there, so many things we aren't even utilizing that chipset yet, that it really will expand in the future very, very well from where we are currently. So evolving tech is what I talked about. We basically have designed our helmets, our hardware and our helmets, along with our software and firmware, to be constantly evolving. As we have app releases, you'll have a free update. As we have software and firmware updates, you'll have a free update. Recently, we just updated all of our sound protocol in our helmets. We found a different protocol we liked better, so we went through and updated all of our helmets with a nicer sound profile than they currently had. Even the helmet itself, currently I'm in the middle of testing for an improved cheek pad and neck roll type area. The helmet's very quiet. I really like it. I think I can make it 10 to 15% quieter, and we're not afraid to roll that in to our production and offer a very cheap upgrade to anybody that currently has a helmet should they want to move that direction. So licensing, to explain what Quinn is, our technology is actually going across a multitude of platforms. Right now, we're moving towards mounting our systems into some vehicles, ATVs, UTVs, etc. We will be actually there to detect crashes and rollovers in those vehicles. Quinn, as I mentioned, bicycle helmets. We're actually, if the Olympics happen, we'll be in the Olympics. We're actually on the, I think, 6-time or 7-time Tour de France team right now, champion. And so we're actually operating at a very high level. There's equestrian products that we're working on currently. We have had conversations with the NFL on contracts with there as well. Ski, we're in the middle of negotiating that deal. We'll move into ski as well. And there's some military defense and other items that we can work with. We've really been focused on the safety and the survivability side of what we're doing, but there's a lot of fun things that Quinn's going to add as we update this app. There's going to be things we call Q scores that will rate the quality of your ride. If you commute every day, we're going to be overseeing it somewhat like Waze, and if there's a faster route or a better way you should be going to work, we'll be doing that as well. We will be offering the opportunity to overlay weather patterns when you plan rides. So if you're planning a ride and in 2 hours it's going to rain, you're going to know that. It's going to tell you should bring some rain gear. And last but not least, we're doing one more thing to address. The only weakness in systems currently, quite frankly, is you need to have a phone signal. And sometimes you're riding where there isn't one. So our next protocol that'll be updated will be a protocol called Home by Dinner. What that's going to be is a geofence protocol. So before you leave on a ride, you can open your telephone and you can circle either where you're headed towards, or you can circle where your home is. You can put in a time you expect to be back. If you aren't where you're headed towards or back home by the time you expect to be, it'll go through the same countdown protocol, giving you an opportunity to shut it off. And then it'll ping your contacts. And what it will do differently is it's going to drop breadcrumbs everywhere you rode that day. So every time you ping a cell phone tower on that ride, which happens pretty much anywhere in the world now, it's going to drop breadcrumbs at every one of those. And it's going to tell your friends your last known location as a rider. So it's at least going to give an opportunity to know where you rode, what direction you were heading, and your last known location. So that's coming sooner rather than later. And then we're just beginning testing on a new protocol, which is basically a drowsy protocol. If you're buzzed and riding, or if you're drowsy and tired of riding a long distance, say you're going to a rally, It'll recognize your head movement and start to realize when you are drowsy, and will warn you, tell you to pull over, take a break, and wake up. So all these little AI things we'll be doing will be being added in to what we do. Moto segment, I'm going to skip right ahead here quickly through the partnerships. Right now, the current collection is we have a 3/4 called the McHugh, and that's available blue, gray, or black. We have the Spitfire, which is more of a street helmet, has a drop-down inner shield. Very nice model, polycarbonate, comes in about, I think, 3.4 pounds. So very livable weight. And finally, we have our Ghost, which is kind of the creme de la creme, which is the helmet I wear. And that is a fully carbon fiber Kevlar helmet. Comes in about 2.8 to about 3 pounds. It's one of the lightest helmets in the world, quite frankly, and it's definitely the lightest smart helmet in the world. So I am going to break off of this and go back to me here and quit sharing my screen. And there I am. So I know my time's clicking away here and we want some time for questions. So I'm going to quickly finish up with a fast demo for everybody here. And what I'm going to do is open my Quinn app on my phone, and I have currently connected to my helmet, which I have right here. And this is my Quinn Ghost. The one thing I love about our Ghost is they're extremely balanced helmet. And what that means for a rider is on long day rides, you're not doing the bobblehead from a very top heavy helmet. And it's very, very livable. I think women find our helmet exceptionally comfortable to wear, just because the tendency for most women riders is you don't quite have the same strength in your neck muscles as men do. And on long rides, like women are beginning to do on these big tours and these big rallies, it's really fatiguing to wear a heavy helmet. So I think our helmet does an exceptional job at that. Extremely stable. I've had this thing on the track up to 150 miles an hour. It's phenomenal at speed. Turning your head left and right, it's very stable. So I'm really happy with almost every aspect of this helmet. So quickly, on the side of our helmets, one of the videos, we integrate the Bluetooth pad. So what that means is it's very, very flush. So you're not getting the normal noise you would get from a Bluetooth unit on a helmet. You're not getting all the weight on one side of your helmet as well, which adds to fatigue. So with our protocol for SOS, this front button, I don't know if I can get you the camera close enough to see, it's hard to because it's not bright in here. The front button has a telephone on it. And basically, let me get my app open one more time here. Sorry guys, I'm moving 3 directions. There we go. So when you open a Quinn app, this is going to be your basic screen. On that screen, you'll see in the bottom corner is an SOS button. So I can just reach up and touch an SOS button with my finger, or alternatively, if you tap this button on the side of the phone 3 times rapidly, you'll see my phone begins to go into a countdown. So this gives you an opportunity to stop this. This is my wife's phone. Gives you an opportunity to stop this. And if you don't, at the end of that, it's going to ping this other phone, and it's going to hit it with essentially a signal for me. And let me open this up because I'm not a very good Android person. There we go. Let's see how I do this. I just opened her credit card. I wonder if I can buy something while I'm on here. That would be great. I may have to call her in here because I'm not as smart as her phone is. There we go. Sorry, guys. Hey, Ginger. I apologize. I have not used an Android. I'm going to go ahead and demo it on my phone just so I don't look ridiculous here. So I can still demo it on mine because I have my phone set up for this. So basically, when you're notified by a friend, and I'll get this right up to the camera here. So when you hook your helmet up, 2 things happen. One, there's a small helmet on the side you can see there. And when that helmet lights up green, it means both your ARC chip and your Bluetooth are connected. When you see a green light on the bell, that means somebody I'm looking out for has pinged me and told me there's an emergency. Now, this is what happened to my screen if Ginger were to crash and this were to hit me. I get pinged with a notification like this. And what would happen is it would open up to the screen and give my location. Now, this is an active screen. I'm trying to get the right angle so you guys can see that better. Let's see if I can do that. There we go. So basically, I can manipulate the screen. I can grow this. I can shrink this down. I'm not seeing that well in this camera. There we go. And basically, if I tap the bottom of my screen on your app, that opens up into a telephone, which I can call directly. I'm laughing because I was demoing this with one of my reps yesterday, and he just texted me, asked me if I was okay. He just got an emergency alert. So obviously very effective. If you tap the center of your screen where that little icon is, then what it will do is immediately open up into an app and tell you exactly how to get to that person. Now, if this was a crash, you wouldn't see a pulse, you'd just see a location. Because it's SOS, you see a pulsing, that signal is repeating. So as I move, that will continue to move, and they'll be able to track me as I move as well. It'll tell you time and distance, how long to get there, and quite frankly, you can pop it open even at a GPS coordinates, so you can report those GPS coordinates directly to EMT if you're calling on the phone. The thing you need to be aware of is if your EMT, or excuse me, your emergency contact is, say, in California, and you're currently riding in Denver, they need to know that so they can be transferred to the correct 911 service. In the future, this will become much simpler to do. Right now, they need to know that so they can say, this person has crashed in Denver, here are the coordinates, please transfer me to that 911. That's a gist of us, and it's kind of a quick overview of what we're doing, but to give you some idea, we'll continue to evolve. I think we have pretty much the best thing going, and I know for me, it's just kind of nice to have that angel on my shoulder. A couple things happened to me last summer. I went on the longest ride I'd been in many years. I did about I think it was a 5-day, 3,000-mile ride, and the last day I was in a hurry to get back, and I rode from the middle of Oregon all the way to Los Angeles in one day, and I got in the middle of the I-5. I was about 5 hours into my ride, and I started dozing off. I'd never had that happen to me in my entire life. And to be honest, it scared the hell out of me. And it really became relevant for me to address something like riding fatigue. One other thing we're going to be able to do is if I'd had the newest app update, it would have known I'd ridden for 3.5 hours with no stops. It would have known it was 100 degrees outside, and it would have known I was dehydrated. It would have pinged me and said, hey, you might want to pull over and take a drink. So these are the kind of little things we're going to do. They're going to be looking over your shoulder, trying to take care of riders better. So there's a lot here and a lot more to talk about, but I don't have a lot of time to do it. So I hope it gives you an idea of what's coming. We have some interesting things that are evolving. We will soon have products that can be embedded in clothing. So you could have a crash glove at some point, possibly. We have items that can be put on vehicles. And to get to the fun side of things, quite frankly, you can take a Quinn arc chip, mount it on a motorcycle, and if you're on the racetrack, we can tell lean angles, acceleration, shifting, brake pressure, how many G's you're pulling in a turn. If you're on a motocross track, we're going to know how many G's you went into a jump and compressed. We're going to know how much you rebounded, how long you're in the air, how far you went before you landed. So there's all kinds of fun stuff we're going to be able to add into this app as well for users that will gamify it and actually be very enjoyable. So I think for now, that's kind of my spiel. If you want to go to questions now, Alyssa, is that where we want to head?
Yeah, actually, we have several great questions. Thank you so much for the great presentation. I'm so excited to watch the technology evolve.
I'm doing a demo, sorry. No webinar. He's like laughing because you paid me to. It's great.
Got to cancel all those emergency calls.
Yeah, I forgot to have an emergency contact and please call me like, are you alive? So obviously it worked, so that worked out well. But anyways.
Yeah. So Marjorie White asked a question. She rides off-road a lot,
yep.
And how does the helmet know if a crash is serious?
Okay, so what we do is we actually measure against. So this is what we do, and this is the other thing I didn't talk about. So your helmet's going to measure every drop. So it knows if you're moving or not, primarily because it's connected to a telephone. And if your telephone's reading movement on GPS, it's going to know you're actually physically moving. If you're standing there and drop your helmet, it's still going to record the amount of G's that went into the helmet. And quite frankly, you're going to get a text, this is coming shortly, that says, hey, you just dropped your helmet. You put 35 G's into your helmet. So you might want to check your helmet closely to make sure there's no damage. If you drop your helmet enough times, it's actually going to ping you and say, you've now dropped your helmet 15 times. You've put 50 plus G's into it 10 of those times. Your helmet definitely has been compromised. You should replace it. And the other thing we're going to do is at 3 years, we're going to remind you, hey, your helmet's 3 years old. You might want to look at it very closely. It's probably time to replace it. So to answer a question more directly, it knows how fast you're going. And when you crash, Marjorie, we're going to know how much impact came into your helmet, how many G-forces actually went in there. And based upon that, we're going to be able to make an estimate whether it's concussive or not. The other thing we're doing is we're reading your body movement. Are you moving or not directly after an accident? If we read zero movement in the body, it's going to send that signal immediately. So it's going to look for body movement. If you're moving around a little bit, then we know you actually still have some consciousness. You're still there. You may still be concussed, but we know you're moving. So we do understand the difference between extremely severe based upon speed, entry level, where it hit your helmet. Was it a temple? Was it a back of the head type blow? So we have a really good idea through all our testing of what those things look like. By the way, Marjorie, in spring, we will be introducing a new motocross helmet, and our goal at that point is to actually introduce not only the really first smart motocross helmet. Our goal is to bring in about a 2.1 or 2.2 pound helmet and have the lightest motocross helmet in the world. The reason we're very conscious of weight is it's simply science. And the best way I can tell you is if you've got a 5-pound hammer and you're driving a nail, you may hit that nail twice to drive it in. If you've got a 1-pound hammer, you're gonna have to hit that nail 6 or 7 times. It's no different. If you've got an 8-pound head and you've got another 4 pounds on top of it, you're driving 12 pounds into the ground. If you have 2 pounds on top of it, you're only driving 10 pounds into the ground. It's gonna be a softer blow at that infinite final impact point. And those are all exponential G's. When you hit like that, it all accelerates. So the less weight, the better. And you look at companies like Dainese, their head engineer, they asked him, what's the best thing you've done to improve safety in MotoGP the last 5 years? And he said, we've halved the weight of everything we build. So there is a real thing to weight in clothing, boots, everything you have. So next.
Yeah. I think you answered David Hall's question saying that he wished Quinn made a dirt bike helmet. Any possibilities for one in the future, and when is it coming?
Yeah, we had planned for a fall launch in all honesty, but due to this lovely thing called COVID-19, our entire year got pushed back and our launch of our helmets just started last month instead of 2 months earlier. So we have a modular coming. We're about 6 weeks out on the modular coming to market now. We're excited about that. About a 3.8 pound modular that's way down on the low end of modular weight, and it's all carbon fiber. And then we will launch the dirt helmet most likely at this point early spring. So look right around next February is kind of what we're eyeballing to get this out, February, March of 2021.
Fantastic. Thank you. Brittany wants to know if Quinn will become involved in any official crash studies. This could change everything in the safety industry with the right applications, and she finds it really exciting.
Like every other helmet company, we work closely with guys like ACT Laboratory to do all of our testing. Because we literally have a test laboratory in our chipset, and I mean that very literally, it's everything they would do in a test laboratory. What we will be doing is constantly collecting data points on accidents, movement, crashes, etc. And we'll be overlaying that with AI, constantly drawing information out of it. So we will know how to better design helmets. We will know what's the most impacted point on a helmet over time. We will know a lot of data points that don't exist because there's no way to measure 5,000 accidents right now. Once we get 5,000 crashes under our belt, we'll know what part gets hit the most, how people fly through the air most often. We'll know a lot of things we don't know right now, but we're definitely in situations like we're discussing with the NFL, that is going to be extensive testing. That is going to be all kinds of things. I mean, if you think about it, if we can register every blow that a football player has taken to their head from the time they're a peewee football player to the time they make the pros, we're going to know exactly how extensive that damage is. When you look at a rider like James Stewart that saw an uncountable number of concussions in his career, the thing we're going to be able to change is actually give doctors a readout and let them know how long that person should actually be sitting out to recover from that brain damage. Right now, if you've got a star running back and they get dinged, of course the coach wants to put him back in 2 weeks. But that guy may need 4 to 6 weeks to recover properly. It may have been a 90G blow to the head. They don't know that. Right now they know, can you count 3 fingers and what's your last name? Right? We change that entire game by telling them real hard data points.
Wow, that's fantastic. And that's why I'm so excited about your technology. John Del Vecchio wants to know, can the speed recording feature be turned off, because that might turn some people off due to legal ramifications?
Everything on that exists on your phone and your phone only. You share only what you want to share. That is not something that's going to be made public or could be made public. All data resides on your cell phone. So we're not here to play Big Brother or do some crazy overlay on you guys. We will collect the data for information, but again, we're not trying to be Big Brother, right? You share only what you want to share. So that's a key point. We are compliant in, I think, 47 countries in the world now, and the European compliancy is extremely more strict than American compliancy on all electronic data. So we're very, very secure.
Okay, that's great. And the last presentation that we talked with Adam Timmerberg and his Roam product, and he's developed a private network for his shoe to motorcycle wireless communication. Can you do this too? What about satellite?
So a couple things. One thing we kind of say, even in the credo of our company, is learn from the giants that went in front of us, right? So we look at things like Shoei helmets and Array helmets and all the cool things they do and what they've learned over the years. We look at companies that are doing great communication systems, and we're actively trying to partner with some of those. Instead of trying to reinvent the wheel and go after building our entire own Bluetooth, we're actually looking at some leaders out there and how to better partner with them and bring them in to create a Quinn and whoever collaboration within our helmet. That's what we did with Abbas. Abbas are Abbas Quinn helmets, and that's how they're marketed in Europe. It's a co-brand. We are moving towards conversations with companies like Spot, because Spot's probably the most recognized satellite emergency system out there for snowmobiling or adventure riding or what have you. But the one pitfall with Spot is if you get knocked out, you can't activate it. Doesn't do you any good. You're out cold. So what we could bring to the table is an activation system within our helmet that can remotely activate a Spot system and save your life. So these are the collaborations we're looking for. Instead of going out and trying to build our own Spot network and build our own Spot unit and do all this stuff, why not partner and add strength to what people already trust and give them another level of security?
Yep, that makes a lot of sense. Wendy Crockett wants to know, how long does the helmet typically hold a charge? And by the way, I think I mentioned she's our 2019 Iron Butt Rally winner, and she was super excited. She's been waiting all day for your presentation.
I just like the name Wendy Crockett. I don't know why. Anyways, on the Quinn, we run actually 3 batteries in our helmet versus 1 giant battery. So we actually run a helmet in each earpiece and the third separate battery right on the chipboard. Typically, you're going to get at full volume about 7 hours. If you're listening to music straightforward all day long at full volume, about 7 hours is what we're seeing right now. If you're running less than full volume, that could go 8-9 hours easily. If you're just getting GPS instructions, if you're just talking on the phone occasionally and listening to music every now and then, we have run these in testing up to 50 hours. So if you're just using it intermittently, it'll last a very, very, very long time. I crack up sometimes because we have helmets that, that have been sitting on a rack as a demo unit forever, and we turn them on. It's been months since we charge them. They kick right on. So we have very good durability, both in time and over time. The other thing is when you charge your helmet, it actually charges the Quinn ARC chip as well. The ARC chip itself can run by itself for 90 days. So it charges when you charge the helmet, but it's always sitting there in the background running. Matter of fact, on the Abbas helmets, they turn on and off when you pick the helmet up and set it down. There's no buttons on that helmet. For the emergency protocol on an Abbas helmet, you tap the helmet 4 times and it'll send out an SOS. So that's all built into that unit. And we actually have a kidnap protocol on those helmets, which is if your child is going out, you can geofence in a certain area, along with we recognize how fast a child should be moving on a bicycle. And if they're riding around all day long at 15 and 20 miles an hour, and suddenly they accelerate to 65 miles an hour, the parents are going to immediately get pinged with a signal saying, your child is now moving at 65 miles an hour. Do you know where they are and what's going on? So in certain countries, it's a much bigger issue than here, but those are the things we're looking at down the road to help. So.
Wow, that is crazy, crazy technology.
Yeah.
Is that same technology going to be able to be sewn into garments? Because I'm seeing so many possibilities there.
Yeah, Ani is just finishing a design of, for lack of a better term, a button that could be sewn onto something. So that can be tucked into a glove. This can be tucked into a jacket. We can easily put it in the handlebar of a motorcycle, on and on. So because it's such a small unit, the crash detection part of it, I mean, the biggest draw on the entire battery system is listening to music and talking on Bluetooth. If you just have that chipset, there's a very minimal draw on it, and it will do its job just fine with very minimal power for a long, long time. So we are looking at different things like STASIC. How cool would it be for a parent to have this on a STASIC, geofence in their kid, say, don't go outside this area. If they go outside of that area, they get pinged. I mean, this, and the big thing we're looking at long-term too is the point of entry for riders into our industry. Obviously COVID's changed everybody's mind of what dangerous is. When it becomes more dangerous to drink a beer at a bar with your friend than it does to ride a motorcycle, we're seeing a bunch of people begin to ride motorcycles. But if you're a parent and your child is, always riding dirt bikes, whatever, and suddenly they're 16 and on the street, it'd be really nice to have some geofencing protocols so you know where your child's at, how fast they're going, what's going on. And that's something we can do to add some parental oversight and give them a sense of comfort when their child's out riding when they're young, as opposed to, no, you're not going to do that. It's dangerous. So, yeah.
Wow, we got a little bit away from the battery issue, so I want to circle back and
Sure.
ask if it's possible to, and I appreciate all that information, it's awesome.
Sure.
I wanted to ask if it's possible to charge it on the fly.
Yeah, I've actually, I've got, when my back was so bad before I had my back surgery, I got a Gold Wing, and I am able to plug into my Gold Wing and plug it into the headset. It's not a big deal. I mean, we integrate the charging port right here into the back of the helmet. When you're done, you just tuck it in the back. I have a power cord in the trunk of my Gold Wing. I can actually just run the power cord out, plug it into my helmet, and charge it while I'm going. Or alternatively, put it in my trunk at lunch, plug it in, and in about an hour, it's back up to full speed again. So you are able to do that, yes. Just like about any Bluetooth you can plug into if you really want to charge while you're on the fly.
Somehow I think you're going to see a whole container load of these helmets on the Iron Butt riders, because it sounds like it's going to change their game.
Well, I think it's just people don't realize how much people ride by themselves. I mean, you look forward to riding with your friends and your buddies and your pals, but at some point you're riding to meet them, you're riding home, you may be running errands and doing all these things. You're out there by yourself a lot. And there's really nobody looking out for you, especially drivers. It's the truth.
Yeah. And the dehydration alerts, that's pretty incredible. I mean, it could be even life-saving without a crash happening. It's amazing.
Yeah, so we'll be able to lay in some biometrics and some other stuff as we go forward. Just because we're overlaying that weather pattern, we can begin to read in a lot of the things. Did you stop? Did you not stop? And create all those different parameters. So cool.
We've got 2 minutes left in this session, and it's really been incredible. Thank you so much for giving us so much time.
Yeah.
Really quickly, does the helmet give you a chance to respond audibly if you're okay after a fall?
Yeah, so what I was showing you guys, and I'll just open it up again real quick. So this is the key. If they go back, let me go back one screen here to the basics. So if I open that up again, and it goes to the next screen, this screen, right? If your emergency contacts, ideally they have the app on their phone, and this is what they're using to reach you. If you hit that bottom bar, you'll see it pops up, and a little telephone pops up in that. If you hit that bar, it calls that person immediately, and because they're wearing a cell phone on their head, you're calling them to find out whether they're able to talk to you or not. In the case of an SOS, yes, they can tell you what's going on. In the case of a crash, they may or may not be awake. It's that simple. So, but it does immediately contact you, call their phone, and you can reach them.
Wow, that's fabulous.
Yeah.
And the last thing I'm going to leave you with is an anonymous attendee said, you might want to change your address after this.
Yeah, I know. I don't care.
You're going to have paparazzi on your lawn tomorrow morning wanting free demos of this amazing helmet.
We'll remind everybody it is Texas. There's a lot of guns in Texas.
Yes, everything's bigger in Texas.
There you go. No, I really I appreciate you guys having me. And we have about 14 training videos coming out in about 2 weeks. So you'll be able to actually look at a lot of the more intimate details on the helmet. But there's some videos up. You can go to quinn.design, our website, and check us out a little bit. And if you got questions or want more information, call us or email me at sales@quinn.design. Okay.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much for being here with us today, Tim.
Absolutely.
And for those of you who want to come to our next presentation, we will have Dr. Chris Huron, Senior Research Fellow at Deakin University, taking a deep dive into the MotoCap gear rating system. So this seems that this afternoon is all about safety.
Nice.
And looking forward to seeing you in there in 10 minutes.
Thanks again,
Bye
guys.
for now. Thanks, Tim.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you. Oh,